Hi, how we doing? This is a short video on the Bosch RA1171 router table. I bought this table about a year ago and used it quite a bit, but over time I found there are a number of things that could be inexpensively and relatively easily upgraded. There are a few things that were quite irritating, and I thought the design could have been a lot better in a few areas. I don't even know why they did a couple of things that they did, but I was able to overcome most of those issues, if not all. One of them, let me move this back a little bit, one of them is kind of easy. I mean, this door comes initially stock with a round grommet, so there's a hole there. You put your finger through the hole to pop the door open, and the door opens fairly hard. So I happen to have a star wheel with a 3/16 bolt and some washers that were right about perfect. It was just a little bit bigger than the ID and smaller than the OD of the grommet. I just put the bolt through the door. I put a couple of washers on the inside. I put the washer on the outside, tightened it up, and end of problem. It works perfect. That was irritating and painful, and gone. I also put some magnets in for the tools. Makes it a lot easier. Just pop it off and pop it back on. Easy peasy. You're going to have the door open anyhow when you change the bit, so that worked out well. And I put a document holder on the side, so the manual is always right here. You don't have to go looking around for it. And I needed this thing to be portable. I don't have much room in my workshop. So I built this table, this box, with casters on the bottom. These casters are awesome. When you lock them down, not only does it stop the wheel from turning, but it stops the caster from moving. So when you lock all four of them down, it stays put. It stays exactly where you want it to be. And I put some storage in here with a light. So a lot of the stuff that came with the router are in here. Pretty easy to get at, easy to see. One of the things that were really irritating about this table is the way the fence was held down. And if any of you guys own this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. These rigs here. They had carriage bolts down through the fence. They went down into the table. You try to move it, try to get it off, try to pull the table off, the bolts would bind up. Sometimes you'd lock them down, thinking they were locked down, and they would just bound, and as you put pressure on the fence with your work, the fence would move and it would ruin your project. That happened to me a couple times. The second time was the last time. I routed in some T-channels on both sides, and I put them out far enough that they'd be out of the way of these knobs that allow the fence to open and close in the center for different bits. And being this far outboard, it makes finer adjustments a lot easier because they're right near the extreme edge of the fence. And one thing I hadn't even thought about that wound up being very cool is I can now move the fence back and change tools without taking the fence off the bench, off the table, which is something you have to do with the original configuration. There's no way to change the tool with the fence still on. So this, bang, you just move it back, change the tool, move it back where you need it, and off you go. Worked out well. I also put some of these T-channels in the front in case I have some wider boards I need to route up near the middle somewhere. It gives me a lot more room to work with. Very easy to do. Costs very little. And this here, oh, I almost forgot. I put some vinyl tape vinyl tape on top of the fence. I built these units that you can slide to where you need them. And it allows you, and I've used this quite a bit, to stop exactly, precisely where you want to. Set it for 4 inches, lock it down, and when you hit the fence, you're at 4 inches. I put one on both sides. You could actually start a piece here drop it onto the bit, and then move it to that one, so you could get some precise notches in work as well. I've used it both ways a bunch of times. It's worked out well. Light has always been a pain in the neck for me on this thing. No matter where I put it, it's in the way. So I built this rig here. Another star knob. And this is just a piece of 3/4 with a captured nut on the bottom. So you just screw it down, lock it in, and on the top I built another rig that's also notched, so you can turn it from side to side and also back and forth. You get it exactly where you want it and lock it down. I made that notch with those two stops, as a matter of fact. I put them out right exactly where I wanted them. Oh, and the vacuum system. This is also very, very nice. See that blue silicone cup down there? That comes out to the back of the unit to a T for the vacuum. I had to drill a hole in the cabinet, and it turns that cup into a vacuum. So it pulls pretty much 90–95% of the dust right out of there. It was advertised to do that, and I said to myself, yeah, sure. If it gets 50%, I'll be happy. It actually does get about 90% of the dust. Worth its weight in gold. I think that's about it. Yeah. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you have any other ideas I haven't added to this table, please let me know. But I'll tell you, this is a much more versatile table, a much more accurate table. I use it a lot more often now because it is easier to use. So again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And I'll leave you a URL where you can buy that vacuum rig, because I highly recommend it. It works out perfectly. All right. Hope you enjoyed the video, and talk to you later.